In this video, we're going to talk about how to do forecasting for astrologers. We're going to talk about three of the main topics that you're going to need to understand, and this will be if you want to do forecasting work for yourself, for your clients, or if you're actually considering writing horoscopes, or you do write horoscopes already. So if you're looking to do horoscope writing for next week, next month, or next year, this will be for you. This is how astrologers will actually create forecasting information and how they will put the horoscopes together. So there's two things we're really talking about here. One is forecasting for your clients and knowing what's coming up for them and what to look for. And then the second thing is actually preparing forecast work, which is what you're going to be doing. We're actually going to be in this video considering next year's planetary movements, because typically you would forecast for your client 12 months ahead from the date of the actual consultation. So once you actually do know how to read a birth chart, perhaps at a competent level, perhaps you're just a beginner, but at any point you're going to start wondering about forecasting. What's coming out next? What can you see in the future? And ultimately this is why most people come to astrology in the first place. So being able to filter through all the amount of information you get about astrology and decide what's important for general forecasting is what we're going to address now. Typically, if you can forecast for your clients, that's one thing, but if you're going to write, say, some horoscopes for your website, or you're going to write some horoscopes for a magazine or something, these are the same principles you're going to use to prepare horoscopes for all publications. I myself have written horoscopes for many years for publications. I specifically wrote horoscopes for one specific website. They wanted their horoscopes in a particular way. I've also written horoscopes for an astrology app that you would have had on your phone and click through for the horoscope for the day or the week or the month, and those are written by astrologers. And I've also written horoscopes for magazines as well. Now the thing is that if you do have assorted clients such as blog posts, magazines or apps, they may require different bits of information from you. Some want to start their week on a Monday. I've always started my week on a Sunday, or whatever it is, or they're looking for weekend horoscopes, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that sort of thing. Also, some clients will only want monthly horoscopes, others will want a shorter weekly horoscope, and most publications will actually want an annual look ahead, and that will be generally published around December, January time for their clients, so that you've got your horoscopes for the year for Aries, Taurus, Gemini, or whatever. And so all of this content is created by astrologers such as yourself or myself, and through the lens of your own chart, and you create and prepare forecast work in this way. So I want to talk a little bit about ghostwriting, and this means ghostwriting is a term that refers to that whoever actually wrote the content, their name doesn't get on it. So if I'm a ghostwriter for horoscopes, my byline, which would have said by Alison Price or by Starzology, won't go on the publication. They will have something that says by Madame Zelda or by Starlight Princess or something, and they have their in-house horoscope writer name that they're using so that they can rotate out the horoscope writers over the years. Some of the older publications, some of the older magazines that have been going around for many years have got the same horoscopes by Zelda at the bottom, for instance, but the actual writer of those horoscopes comes and goes because they are ghost written. So as an astrologer, if you are ghost writing horoscopes, your name will not go on them, although you of course will get paid for it, but your name will not be presented. And specifically for websites, you get this as well, and of course for astrology apps, they're going to say our horoscope, our astrologer Madame Zelda wrote these horoscopes, but of course it's another astrologer because they are outsourced horoscopes that we're talking about. So typically when I'm talking about a horoscope, I'm talking about the 12 signs of the zodiac from Aries to Pisces, and you would write a chunk of a horoscope, Aries this week, Taurus this week, Gemini this week, or the month, or the actual year. So to actually get organized as an astrologer, to gather your information, to know what to put into horoscopes and what are going to be important days for Aries next month or something like that, the three main things that you have to pay attention to are ingresses, retrogrades, and eclipses. And to a lesser extent, lunations, but I'll talk about that later. So a planetary ingress is when a planet moves from one sign to the other, when Mars goes from Aries to Taurus, from Taurus to Gemini, maybe back to Taurus, or retrograding or something like that. So anytime a planet moves sign, the energy will shift. And I actually do have a video about ingresses here, and you can take a closer look at that. That will be the ingresses for 2021, because I'm talking to you now in 2020. So the idea is that you want to get to know whether in the horoscope period where you're actually creating the horoscope, say you're doing January 2021, you want to know which planets are changing sign, and that you will know through the ingresses. So that's your first point. The second point you're looking for is retrograde cycles. So planets may, of course, start the period that you're forecasting in retrograde already, and then they may go direct during that horoscope period, or they could be direct as the period begins and then go retrograde during the period. And of course, if you're doing an annual horoscope, Mercury is going to be retrograde and direct 3 times, and maybe Mars and Venus, it just depends. The outer planets, excluding Mars, will be retrograde at one point. They will station retrograde, and at one point they will station direct during the course of the year. So again, it does depend on the actual time that you're writing the horoscopes for, because it could be weekly, monthly, or annually. When a planet is retrograde, its energy is weakened. It is not at its full strength, but there are different attributes brought to that planet, and I have more about that in this retrograde video that you can have a look at if you're interested. The third main thing that you need to look at as a forecasting astrologer when you're writing horoscopes is eclipses. Now, you will know that eclipses come in 2 seasons during the year. There is a variety of eclipses. There is typically at least 4. There can be 5, 6 or 7 eclipses in any year, and it does depend on the year. So you are interested in both solar and lunar eclipses, and if an eclipse occurs, say there's a lunar eclipse in June, and that's the period you're writing for, you're going to be talking about, oh, there's this lunar eclipse and it's at 15 degrees Gemini, and it's going to affect these signs in different ways. So but you want to know what day is that eclipse happening, because that's when the energy change will occur. And as a horoscope writer, that is when you're going to be able to talk about this shift in energy. So I do consider eclipses very highly. They're very important, and there's more about eclipses on this video for the eclipses of 2021. On a lesser note, I would also consider the lunations, which are the new moons and the full moons that will occur. There'll be a new moon each month and a full moon each month, and they will be special days that you can talk about if they fall in your horoscope period. Typically they will, of course, for a monthly horoscope, and certainly they may or may not occur in any weekly horoscope that you would be writing. So as you can imagine, there's an awful lot of information to draw together to say if you're going to write your horoscopes for 2021, if you want to gather your thoughts. And of course, once you've got all this information, you can use it not only for any horoscope you happen to be writing or horoscopes you're writing on your particular blog, you can also use them for every client that comes your way, because you're going to be forecasting for each client that you see, and you'll be able to, you've got all your data already brought together so you know what you're looking at. All of the planetary information is available in an ephemeris. This is the ephemeris I use. I will put a link below if you're interested, and this is where the information is that I've drawn. Now, of course, there's a lot going on in an ephemeris, and if you haven't got the time to read through it all, that's where my handy guide will come in. Every year I create what I'm calling the Starzology Astrology Guide for the particular year. And I used to just do this basically for myself so I can get organized and get all this information together in a way that made sense to me, rather than having to dig through the ephemeris every single time. And over the past few years, I've had this guide available as a complimentary to all my students who come through my classes, and I've been giving it to them. But there has been quite a demand, and people are asking for this guide to actually be available. So I have prepared a PDF download. There is a link below which you can click on and get the guide if you're interested, and there is a modest fee for this guide. Now, in the guide, I have listed all of these things that I'm talking about, all of the ingresses, all of the retrogrades, and all of the eclipses. And that will be for 2021. So we're looking at next year, and of course if you're watching this video later on, of course the information remains, but it remains for 2021. So you only create the guide once. I usually do it in the middle, well, we're talking August here. I usually create the guide towards the middle or the end of the previous year, get all my information ready so I've got my guide at hand, because already you're forecasting into that period. So there's no point in waiting until the last minute and waiting until January to say, oh, let me have a look what's happening this year. So I'm just going to run through a few of the pages that are available in this guide. I have some information about the ingresses. You can see those here. I also then I'm providing some information about the retrogrades as well, the specific retrogrades that are occurring in 2021, and I'm talking about all of the eclipses with the eclipse charts for all eclipses that are actually going to happen next year. So I'm actually covering all the 4 eclipses that are going to happen in 2021. I'm showing you the charts, some of the information that you need to know about these eclipses because you're a forecasting astrologer. The idea of the guide is that you've just got the information to hand, so if you're looking for perhaps May or October or something like that, you can go through quickly and find out, oh yes, Mars is changing, Jupiter's changing, whatever's going on. And this is a guide for astrologers. So again, it is aimed at people who are aspiring astrologers or anyone who is doing forecasting work, either through horoscopes or basically for your clients. So let's face it, this guide isn't going to appeal to everybody, but there it is. I make it every year. It's now just grown into this much bigger thing, and I just wanted to share that with you because there's an awful lot of time and effort that does go into the preparation of this. And this is the guide that I use myself when I'm actually doing forecasting work, when I'm writing horoscopes, and when I'm actually consulting with my clients so I can see forward ahead, because I don't want to go every single time back to the Ephemeris, although I may have to double check something, but really it's easier to just say, okay, what's happening this week? Oh, we've got a new moon in Gemini, let's discuss that. And that's really what it's for. It's to help you along. It's a guide, it's a bit of a clue to keep you on track and get you to be a better forecaster or horoscope writer. Now, I do have an older video about getting organized to write horoscopes, and I will put the link to that video right here. It is a little bit older and the quality of the video is not as good as it could have been, because I think it was my second video I ever put up on YouTube, and now we're looking at my 86th video, so hopefully this video is looking better than that one did. But anyway, so there is more information there, and if you do have questions, certainly put them in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to help you out and answer your questions. Please consider sharing this video with anybody who would be interested. It really helps me out. I'm Alison Price. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.